Hi everybody, I want to welcome you guys back to another episode of How to Airbnb. My name's Andrew and I'm going to teach you everything I think you need to know about Airbnb. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys about how I got started with Airbnb. So this is going to be my story. So the way that I actually got started was by accident, and what I mean by that is I had no intention of running an Airbnb in my home, let alone running Airbnbs for other people. How this happened was I was in Montreal one weekend assisting on a boot camp, and the person that I was with actually told me that they had their place on Airbnb in Toronto and they had people coming to stay over, and he was worried that they were going to mess his place up. So what happened is I got back from this boot camp, and at my place, I was actually looking to rent out a room in my 4-bedroom apartment, and I'd been trying for a while. September rolled around, all the students came by, and no one wanted to take the place. There was nothing wrong with it, it was just that I couldn't get anybody to rent it. I was also focused on school at the same time, so it was really hard for me to juggle all of this stuff. So now it's August. I have another month's rent to pay. I don't have any prospects. Kijiji, Craigslist, online rentals are not working. People are not taking my place. So I'm in bed one night, and what happens is I get this idea, like a reminder from the person that I was on the boot camp with, the instructor, and I remember him talking about this thing called Airbnb, and I had an idea what it was, but I didn't really fully get it. I knew that people would give you money to stay in your house, but that was about it. Like, I didn't know anything about that stuff. So it's late, I'm in bed, and I'm trying to go to sleep. It's about midnight, and I get this idea of, what is Airbnb? So I whip open my laptop, I Google Airbnb for the first time, I punch it in airbnb.com, and then like at the top right it says become a host, and it's a really nice website, and I'm just like, okay, let's give this a whirl. So I click that button, and then I click another button, and then another button, and I end up clicking buttons and going through steps for like an hour. Like, it was ridiculous. It was like, yeah, it took me some time, but it was effortless. It was like, it just step by step by step, and then eventually I had a listing created. Like, for me, it was really easy because I already had an ad to work with. All I needed to do was copy paste the information that I had into the new Airbnb profile, which was very similar to Craigslist and Kijiji and any online rental sites. And the pictures, I had them already. I just had to upload them to this new site, and then I was done. 1 hour, done. 1 a.m, in my bedroom, dark, punching away like a madman. And at the end of the creation, if you want, well, Airbnb gave me a notification saying that, well, in 12 hours, your listing's gonna be live. We're gonna review it, make sure everything's okay, and once we're good, we'll let you know. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's it. Don't have to worry about too much. So I went to bed and woke up the next day. So the next day, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, roughly 12 hours after I created the listing, right? And just by passing, I just tell her, I was like, oh, hey, babe. And she was like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, oh, well, I kind of like put my place up on Airbnb last night. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's interesting. Well, like, good luck with that, right? I was like, yeah, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what goes on. And no joke, like 2 minutes after I said that, my phone made the weirdest sound that I never heard before. I looked at it, and it said, booking confirmed, CHRISTOPH is staying with you from August 25th to August 28th. I had a booking. This guy had paid me. I had somebody that was going to come stay in my house from Germany for a little less than a week, and I wasn't ready. Like, what happened is I looked at my girlfriend at the time, and I told her, like, look, I just got a booking. And she's like, holy shit, how much money was that? And I showed her and she was like, oh, like, wow, that was great. And then I told her afterwards, I said, I have to go home. And she said, why? I was like, I haven't told my roommates. She was like, go home. So I get home and I have to tell my roommates what's going on. They're not all home, but I do have one person that's there that I do tell. And I kind of say it the same way I just explained. So I go up to him and I tell him, hey man. He's like, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good, man. I'm like, hey, I kind of did something last night. He's like, oh, what'd you do? I was like, well, I kind of put like that room there up on Airbnb last night. He's like, oh, that's cool. Well, let's see what happens. Who knows, right? And I was like, yeah, we have a booking. And he's like, what? I was like, someone's reserved. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, someone has given us money and is gonna come stay in that room. And he's like, what? When? I show him the dates. He's like, okay. Who? I show him the person. Where's he from? I was like, Germany. And he's like, how much is he paying us? And I was like, a lot. And he says, wow. So we had about a week to get our home prepared for this guest that was coming. And we had a lot to do. Like, we were 3 guys living in an apartment that we'd been there for almost 4 years, so there was definitely some dust bunnies under the beds, if you know what I mean. And we just started preparing and making everything look good, and at the same time I was online trying to learn everything that I needed to learn to host properly, and also communicating back and forth with this guest. His name was CHRISTOPH. CHRISTOPH was my first guest, and he booked my place on August 23rd, and I think he was arriving maybe a week or so after that, or a few days after that. He was staying with us for about 4 or 5 days. He had something to do at the embassy. I'll show you guys the messages that I received in the beginning. Check-in was scheduled for, I think it was 2 o'clock, and on the day of we were still running around trying to get everything ready, and the last thing that we needed to do was change the shower curtain. And we used to have this old big bathtub with claw feet. It was very old, very big, but it had a, how do you call it, a curtain that went all the way around the shower, so you need 3 curtains to wrap it all fully, and it would take time to click them all one by one. So my roommate is taking care of this last job, so he's in the bathtub about halfway clicking what he needs to click back into place to get the curtain on, right? And before we know it, the buzzer goes off. And we all know what that means. That means that our guest is here, and we're not ready. So all I can remember that was the funniest thing in my life was watching my roommate squirming in the bathtub, trying to get these things clicked as fast as possible. But he can't go that fast, and we're trying to organize to have the guests meet him downstairs, bring him upstairs, and bring him into the apartment. So CHRISTOPH arrives. My roommate finishes putting up the curtain just in time, so he's able to get out of the bathtub and come introduce himself. And CHRISTOPH is there. He has one piece of luggage. He has a German accent, and we show him where his room is, and he goes in and he starts unpacking. And the thing was, I was so uncomfortable at the time that I was like, man, I just let some German guy into my home that I don't even know. Like, is this guy gonna murder me in my sleep? Like, Not that he was German, but it was just some random guy from the internet, right? Like, this is how people get murdered. Like, this is how it happens. So, as he's unpacking his bags, what I decided to do was kind of hang out, like, near the entrance of his room and, like, kind of see, like, what he was doing, right? Like, just in case, like, he had a machete or something in his bag. And, like, as he's unpacking, I kind of have a look, and he kind of turns around and he looks at me. And all he does is he pulls out a six-pack and he says, "Beer?" And at that point I was just completely comfortable. Like, I was blown away by some guy that just took a plane from the other side of the world and came here and wanted to crack a six-pack with us before he got anything done. So obviously we had beer and chatted and talked and told us he was from Berlin and everything that he was doing here and why he was here, why he had to visit the embassy, and he had a pretty crazy story too. So anyways, we have our beers and we decide to all go for dinner together. We go to our local restaurant, we sit down, we order. I think this is CHRISTOPH's first time in Canada. So we're sitting down at the restaurant, we're having dinner, we're getting to know each other, and overall, it just feels fantastic. We finish up dinner, we head back home all together. CHRISTOPH goes in his room, my roommates go in their room, I go in my room, and I get ready for bed. As I lay down, I kind of realized that was really good. It just felt great to be with somebody from somebody else that just had a completely different perspective on life. And I got paid for it. That was ridiculous. So that's it for my story for now. There is a lot more that I'm gonna get to, and that's what I'm gonna share with you guys in my next video. I wanna thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me that you guys are listening and watching. And now, before you go, please make sure to like my video, comment down below, and also subscribe so that you'll get more info on how to Airbnb. Now remember, keep hosting.